so much, and welcome to Sharsheret's second Shalom Shabbat program. My name is Melissa Rosen, and I'm the Director of Community Education at Sharsheret. So many of my colleagues have worked to create this wonderful program and are joining us now to ensure that the program is seamless. This type of programming is actually still relatively new for Sharsheret, and although we're always grateful for an opportunity to reconnect and to recenter, we've found, and I'm sure you have as well, that as we deal with unprecedented physical isolation, these opportunities are more important than ever. So thank you for joining us. You were muted as you entered today's program. Please stay on mute so that we can clearly hear today's presenters. If you need to mute yourself, there is a button on the bottom of your screen on the left-hand side to enable you to do that. I want to let you know that this program is being recorded. However, no names or faces will show on the recording other than those who are actively presenting. But if you wish to turn your video off now for privacy, that option is also on the bottom left of your screen. You can also choose to rename yourself if you prefer to remain anonymous, and you can do that by clicking the three dots at the top right of your photo square. Finally, in terms of Zoom etiquette, we recommend that you choose speaker view. This will allow you to focus on each presenter. When you do that, other participants' images will become small thumbnails across the top or to the right of your screen. You can do that by looking on the top right-hand corner of your screen. Okay, let's get this program started. However you celebrate, whatever your experience with Shabbat is or has been, we can all use an opportunity to rest and to recenter ourselves in the midst of treatment, survivorship, COVID-19. I don't know where all of you are from at the moment, but if you live on the East Coast, there was a recent hurricane that was pretty stressful. If you live on the West Coast, I'm told there was a small earthquake that affected the West Coast. So there are a lot of things going on. And of course, there's just the normal chaos of a life well lived. And that's what today is all about. Together, we'll enjoy some music, explore the concept of light and of candle lighting, and come away with a bit of inspiration for the week ahead. There is always some level of chaos in our lives: work, family, volunteer commitments, and of course, for those who have are facing cancer or are dealing with survivorship, those currently facing, there's even more chaos: physical, emotional, and even spiritual chaos. We all need a break. We need an opportunity to take a breath, a deep breath. It's absolutely necessary for our health and for our happiness. Where we are today, like I said, with the addition of the pandemic, just adds to that chaos. And yet, even with all of that chaos, the world gives us a mandatory pause. So we clearly have a worldwide pause because of COVID. And within the Jewish tradition, there is a weekly pause. By the way, mental health professionals have recommended taking time to pause from this normal chaos on a regular basis. Like I said, our tradition, the Jewish tradition, gives us just that, a weekly pause, simply an opportunity to rest and regroup each week, to focus on what's important, what gives our lives meaning. And that's different for each of us. It could be our family, our health, perhaps something completely different. And how we experience that pause is also different for each of us. Some of us celebrate traditionally. Others have found innovative ways to make Shabbat or a pause meaningful. While some prepare elaborate meals, others choose takeout pizza as a break from cooking. Some attend services when we're not confined by a pandemic. Others spend time in nature and with their family. And the truth of it is that each person can celebrate in a way that is meaningful to them. But I do want to encourage each person to celebrate, whether you've always marked Shabbat, Whether you're just exploring it now, our lives deserve the pause that Shabbat provides. Take the time each week to make the important things in life, including yourself, a priority. Our lives, even as the pandemic passes, even as cancer grows distant in the rearview mirror, are filled with chaos. Even happy chaos has an impact. So I encourage you to give yourself the gift of a dedicated time for renewal. One of the ways that Shabbat can be special is through music, and music is such a source of joy for people. I want to welcome a Sharsheret friend, Cantor Natalie Young. Cantor Natalie proudly serves Temple Beth El in Aliso Viejo, California. She is an award-winning composer, herself a breast cancer survivor. She's a soul sparker, a memory maker, and a community builder who believes in the power of music to heal and transform. Right now, she'll be singing a unique version of Or Zerua, which translated from Hebrew actually means light is sown. Look out for a bit of a Broadway mashup. Please note that the words will be on your screen. If you'd like, take the opportunity to sing in your own home. Cantor Natalie, I welcome you, and I will get the words up on the screen right now.
So much, Melissa. It is such a wonderful way to start the day here together. Wishing everybody a Shabbat filled with light.
Wow, that was just simply beautiful. Thank you so much. I want to take the opportunity to introduce another Sharsheret friend, Rabbi Jacqueline Ram Satlow. Rabbi Jackie served as University of Massachusetts Dartmouth for the past 13 years as the director of the Center for Jewish Culture and the director of the Center for Religious and Spiritual Life. She's a graduate of Barnard College and Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion. She's living in Providence, Rhode Island, with her husband Michael, and they have 3 children who are young adults. Rabbi Jackie is also a breast cancer survivor and grateful to be alive and healthy 6 years later. She's going to be sharing some of her own story and about the meaning of light and candle lighting. Rabbi Jackie?
Thank you. So thank you so much for inviting me. And I just want to say, Cantor Natalie, that was so beautiful. Okay, I am going to share my screen. Did that work? Okay. So thank you. So I was asked to speak on the theme of Shabbat light, and but why is it not going to the next slide?
It's not going. If you try clicking the arrow.
Yeah, of course. Oh. Is it not?
Or your space bar?
My space bar. Nope. Maybe I should stop and do it again. Let's try again.
Try the down arrow as opposed to the right hand arrow. That sometimes works for me.
Right. Of course I did it doesn't. What if I do? Okay, there we go. Sorry, okay. I'm so sorry. Okay.
Don't worry about it.
So thank you so much for inviting me. Of course, I believe we're going to talk a little more about candle lighting further on in the program. But I just want to say, so of course, the theme of light on Shabbat starts with candle lighting. Just as the sun is setting on Friday afternoon, we light candles. We say the blessing, and the candles bring light into the home. I'll say that for me, I enjoy this moment. That's when I pray for health and well-being for my own family and the world, but I always take a moment for each in my own family. So the theme of light runs through Shabbat. Part of the evening Shabbat liturgy, you can see the Siddur here. We thank God for the natural light, rolling away light, uncovering darkness, and darkness uncovering light. On Shabbat morning, we thank God, also the creator of natural light and darkness. God invents light, God creates darkness, and we continue. That whole prayer, Yotzer Or, is about natural light and thanking God for the creation of natural light. And for some reason, all of your faces are covering my Hebrew. So hopefully you can see the Hebrew, but I can't because I see all your beautiful faces. Okay. That prayer that is mostly about natural light and thanking God for the creation of natural light ends with a switch in theme, and we talk about messianic light, or Chadash al Tzion Ta'ir. So we're no longer talking about the light of the stars, the light and darkness, the natural light, but now we're talking about a messianic light that is going to come and shine through us. And someday, this new light, or Chadash, is going to shine forth. We'll all be illuminated. This is not necessarily natural light here. This is a type of light that we've never seen before, or Hadash. And then, of course, as Shabbat ends, we say Havdalah, the separation between Shabbat and the rest of the week. We thank God for creating the light of fire. And I'm sure many of you have participated in Havdalah. A braided candle with multiple wicks is used. It gives off really a lot of light, and then it's extinguished. So we have this moment of light and then darkness. But part of the ritual of Havdalah is praying for is just as we separate light from darkness, Shabbat is separated from the rest of the week. Just to say thank you. If you've never seen this, I've got these pictures are from a Siddur called Nehalel B'Shabbat. I want to give them credit. Published by Nevarech 2013 in Jerusalem. So to talk a little bit about my own experience, so you can see, so through traditional Jewish prayer, this theme of light and Shabbat is very significant. But Sharsheret asked me to speak a little bit about my own experience as a breast cancer survivor, and I would say that, so I'm thrilled that it's been more than 6 years for me. Of course, as a rabbi, I've always had, I have an active prayer practice. I pray, I'm well trained in Jewish liturgy, but I'll say that when I was in the midst of my cancer treatment, the traditional prayer practice that I had developed really wasn't working for me. I wasn't really feeling, there's a lot about sin and God's punishing for sin, and that really wasn't what I was believing at that moment, and my head was racing a lot with anxiety. So I'll say that I went to the hospital where I was having my treatment, had a whole series of other events to participate in, and one of which was mindfulness meditation. And I went to mindfulness meditation, and where I was taught by, now the nurse who ran those sessions was mostly a Buddhist. So I'm not a Buddhist, but she did start me down a path that I found very, very helpful through that period. And since then, I've done a lot of reading about Jewish meditation and Jewish mindfulness. And I wanted to just mention a technique involving light and meditation that I've really taken on through, that I started with my, when I was in the midst of my cancer treatment, and I've really maintained for today. And I'll just describe it here, which is, instead of praying the whole liturgy, I'll choose just like 1 or 2 words from Jewish liturgy and use them as a meditation technique. So in this case, perhaps Or Hadash, a new light. And I it involves closing my eyes and paying close attention to my breath as I start, and I imagine this Or Hadash, this new light, coming down through my whole body. It's like and I imagine God's presence like just washing over me with this healthy, loving new light. And as I imagine it going down my whole body, I do stop at particular parts of my body that really have been that you know, I've had a fight with, that need some more attention and some more healing. And so I'll say I do that for you know, I try and do it for at least 10 minutes every day. And that's just a little description of my own experience and the light of Shabbat and God's light, and how that's affected my own spiritual work as a rabbi and as a breast cancer survivor.
Thank you so much. That was really insightful and so nice to hear another story. I personally really appreciated it, and I am sure those also on the screen did. I'm actually going to take a moment to tell you a little bit about my practice with candle lighting. Right, there are many practices and rituals that accompany Shabbat that we find meaning in them. Candle lighting is just one of them, but it is one that has particular meaning to me. So I actually volunteered to share something today about my own candle lighting experience. And as I share, I really want to encourage each of you to give some thought to how candle lighting or light in general has impacted you, and what you hope you might get from either the action of lighting or the more general concept of light. If you're comfortable, please type them into the chat box at the bottom of your screen so we can share them afterward as a thoughtful way to enter Shabbat. I am going to share my screen again, and let's hope. Oh, there we go. Okay, so this is how Shabbat candles look in my home. I'll explain to you what each of them represents, but I do want to share first that just like the other two speakers, I am also a breast cancer survivor as well as a different kind of cancer. So the first time I was diagnosed with a lymphoma, I really leaned into my Jewish community and my commitment to Jewish life. I found comfort in it. And it helped me get through what I was going through. At the time of my second diagnosis, my breast cancer diagnosis, which was 17 years after the first one, without even realizing it, I turned away from those things. I may have even actually shut them out. I was mad. 6 years later, I'm still working to get back to a place within Judaism that makes me happy. I still struggle with spirituality, and you heard Rabbi Jackie reference that during her presentation. And so I look for places that I can find it comfortably. And lighting candles on Friday night is one of the few times each week that I can honestly say that I feel connected. It's a ritual that I look forward to, that I find imbued with meaning, that allows me to feel connected to the Jewish community, and that personally I find myself in a relationship with God. And I've asked myself, how is it that I'm able to make that connection as I light candles when I often cannot at other times? So obviously light represents renewal and awareness, and that's something that we all hope for. But very much like Rabbi Jackie said, I've assigned each one of my family members a candle. So in the middle, we have the candles that my husband and I started lighting when we were married. To the left and right, the tall candlesticks are, I have 3 children, 2 of them are daughters, and when they are home, they light candles. My eldest is going to be home this Shabbat, so we put her candles out so she could light them. But when they're not home, those candles remain empty. The smaller candlesticks that have the little tiny candles in them represent my children, 1 for each child, including my son-in-law. And finally, the candle that's sitting there on the, my right-hand side, the single candle is a recent addition. When the world went into lockdown and chaos continued to come our way, I added another candle as I pray for the health of the world each week. So I've assigned each person a candle, and as I light, I focus on that person. I wish them well, I ask for protection. I take a moment to appreciate having them in my life. I'm talking to them as I light, but I'm also talking with God. When I say the bracha or the blessing, I sing it, and I don't care who's listening. I do it so slowly with my eyes closed, and I take that time to ease into Shabbat. By the way, singing for me, I don't sound like Cantor Natalie. It's maybe the only time in the week that I sing where I don't care who's listening and I just enjoy it myself. So while I do this, everything around me stops. It's the combination of these personal customs that have made my weekly candle lighting such a significant and meaningful part of my week. I'm grateful for the tradition. Maybe you find you have a similar experience. Maybe you do something completely different that's associated with Shabbat or is not associated with Shabbat, is associated with nature or specifically with your children or whatever it is. But this is the ritual that I have found that allows me to connect in so many ways. And for me, it's been beautiful. So I am gonna stop my share, bring us all back on screen, and ask my colleagues, Becky Corin, who is the Illinois Program Coordinator, and Jessica Jablon, who is the Valley Outreach Program Coordinator, who've been monitoring the chat box. I'm going to ask them to share some of your thoughts without names attached to it, because I'm hopeful that just like when you heard from each of us, I'm hopeful you got something, but I'm also hopeful that each of us can share so we can all enhance our experiences. So Becky, Jessica, could you start us off?
Sure. So somebody shared that to her, it means candle lighting represents hope and survival.
And another person shared that it represents a connection with our community to her.
And someone else shared that in the moment between circling the flames with her hands and starting the blessings, she takes a deep inhale to bring in Shabbat and a long exhale to let go of the past week. Her husband says he looks forward to that exhale all week.
I love that.
And feel free to send the messages privately to Sharsheret if you want, if you don't want to send them to everyone.
Absolutely. So if there are any more, we'll stop back at the very end to see if there are additional, but I hope that us sharing has given you something to think about. And again, it could be you take on a tradition we've talked about. It could be you just now realize the importance of a tradition to feel connected, to feel recentered, to feel whole. As we get ready to conclude, we're going to finish with Cantor Natalie joining us again, and she's going to lead us in Ose Shalom, a song that asks for peace, which is, of course, what we're asking for when we ask for awareness and wholeness and health. It's the perfect way to welcome the chance to rest and reset. And although we're all in our own homes and we happen to be muted, please, the lyrics are going to be on the screen. Please feel free to join in. Cantor Natalie?
Yes. So a beautiful teaching in our tradition is that within each of us resides the spark of the divine. We are each created in God's image, and while at times we may experience the feeling of brokenness, God is in that with us. As we light our Shabbat candles each Friday night, we have the opportunity to renew ourselves and invite God in with deep intention. And I want to share an acronym that a friend shared with me on Light. Love, inspire, give, heal, and transform. And as we light our Shabbat candles, we can bring that intentionality into wherever we are, whatever mindset we are in, remembering that as we invite in that Shabbat light, as we invite God into that space, we too can be renewed. We too can find wholeness. This beautiful melody by Alana Arian, a good friend of mine. Ose Shalom, Birama. Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Shalom Aleinu, Oseh Shalom Bimromav, Hu Yaseh Shalom, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu, Yaseh Shalom Aleinu, we ask for peace on earth and we say we raise our voice as one and we say Amen.
Wow, thank you for sharing your voice with us today. Okay, I wanna conclude. I want to remind you that Sharsheret continues to be there for you through these unprecedented times. We continue to offer online content about once a week, and you can always go online to view the webinars that you may have missed. If it's possible to post that link in the chat box, that would be great, but you can also just go to sharsheret.org. and it'll be one of the main pieces scrolling across the top of the page. And of course, our wonderful dedicated team of social workers and our genetic counselor are there to help you manage your concerns. Sharsheret's been providing telehealth services to Jewish breast and ovarian cancer communities for close to 20 years now. And although we could never have imagined the world as it is right now, through our services, we've really been preparing for this moment and continue to be there for each and every one of you. So please do not hesitate to reach out. And if you want to reach out, we can post that link also, but you can simply do info@sharsheret.org or clinical@sharsheret.org, and we'll get you to the right person. I want to remind you that we have another webinar this Sunday. It's the start of a 3 Sunday in a row series of physical health, yoga. We begin with yoga this Sunday, so that information is also easily found on our website. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for joining us today, and we hope you will come back, you'll bring friends for our next scheduled Shalom Shabbat, which is on October 30th. Wishing you a Shabbat filled with quiet, with joy, with comfort, a Shabbat filled with Shalom. Thank you so much. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.